Hello, this is Hooked by Happenstance, and I'm Kendra, and in our attempt to try new things this week, me and Peachla here are going to try something new. And no, she's not picking anything this week. In fact, her and I are going to scroll through my phone and reply to all of your comments. Now, Peachla's not very good at replying to comments because her little yarny paws don't actually activate the phone keys. And she's just very bad at typing without having fingers and all. So she is basically just going to sit here and watch me reply. I am very bad at replying to comments because I have a thing about the written word in where I feel that each particular word is incredibly important. And in comment sections, I feel like what you type is incredibly easy to misinterpret because there's no tone when you're typing. But there is tone when I'm speaking. So this will be a quick way for me to go through, reply, and there can be long replies to things that need them and shorter replies to ones that don't. I may not read all the comments, like if you just thumbs up or put a heart, I probably just won't read it because there's no reply. Just know that if you sent me a thumbs up, I probably sent one back, and if you sent me a little heart, I'm thinking one back at you as well. So basically the way I'm going to structure this is I'm going to start with the first video that I published last week, and we're just going to scroll through the comments and I'll talk about them. So the first video we're going to talk about is on the Let Peachla Pick My Fair projects for the crochet placemat. There was a comment that said, now that Peachla has spoken, I can go to bed and rest easy. By the way, I thought your story was going to lead to apple-shaped placemats. Well, Denise, I thought the very same thing when I sat down to do them because I filmed the beginning of the Let Peachla Pick videos at one point, and then I make the project, and then I filmed the middle section that talks about what I actually did. Well, I had every intent of making apple placemats, either that were fully apple-shaped, or I kind of decided that I thought it would be better to do something that was like a rectangle and then put an apple motif. So I pull out that blue, which I thought would match the kitchen that I intend them to go in, and I started putting it together. And then I really liked where the pattern started going, and it just kept going. So I let the yarn tell me what to do, which is kind of my favorite way to design things. I have a basic idea of the function of the item I want, what I want to make it out of, and it usually starts with some picture in my head of how I want it to look, and then I start making. And then the yarn will either look good or not good doing certain things, or it will feel good or not good to do certain stitches, and then I just follow that. So if you're looking for tips on how to design things, that is how. Listen to the yarn and how it feels and how it looks. It gives you lots of tips along the way, and just go with it, even if it means you don't include apples in your very long, rambly apple story video. The next comment says, love those placemats, girl. I so want to make those, hoping for a tutorial in August. My plan, yes, and it looks like on the schedule I've plugged it in. There will be a pattern coming out for those with a video that accompanies it, and that will occur in August. More details in August. Then Tracy said, like the crochet top. The crochet top I was wearing in that video is my Clarice top. I made it out of Mystery Mill and yarn that I got at Joann's in like kind of metallic-y colors, which I really like. And the pattern is by Kim Guzman. It is available on her website. Look it up on Ravelry or on her website. Kim Guzman has lots of good and free patterns, and I liked it. It was fun to make. The next comment was that the placemats came out nice, and it's also nice that you're making them for a friend who I'm sure will appreciate them. Smiley face. Well, thank you, Debbie. I really like how they turned out, too. The yarn is actually the same yarn I used for last year's fair placemats. I have lots of cones of that yarn. Plus, the Billowing Blues Peaches and Cream matches so many people's decor that it's a nice item or yarn to use when you're making gifted items. If you are looking for a gifted item to make before the pattern comes out for this batch of placemats, I'll put a card up here. Last year, I made a tutorial for the placemats that I entered in the fair. I called them the Billowing Blue Ribbon placemats because, well, I used Billowing Blues yarn and I got a blue ribbon. So, like I said, if you click up here, there's a video from last year. You can see that. And then Darlene said, thank you so much for your blog, which is nice. Thank you so much for your comment. Next video is the 7th installment of the Spring Cleaning and Plaster My Yarn Stash, and there's 2 comments. The first one said, I may not comment as much as I should, but I really enjoy watching these videos. Thanks, Debbie. I don't comment as much as I should on your videos either, but I do enjoy watching them. And I like how you use y'all when you say dollar haul. Dollar haul, y'all. I agree. So the next comment basically is somebody replying about the yarn and saying that they would be willing to buy it. I get comments every time I post one of these yarn stash videos of people that want to buy the yarn. I'm not really looking to sell it, and if I am, those individual bits I will put up on a D-stash somewhere at some point. I would most like to use the yarn locally in my personal life. I would like to use it not for me, but with people that I know. I feel uncomfortable getting rid of it, like selling a bunch of it, because the stuff that was gifted to me, I feel uncomfortable then making money off of. So that stuff I would like to at least just donate locally, and that'll just happen. Also, if I'm going to do projects with kids locally, it would be nice to have a batch of yarn to work with, right? Like I would ask other people maybe for donations. Okay, I probably wouldn't, but most people would if they were doing that kind of project. So instead, I have a stash to do that. So that is kind of my plan on that whole front. So to answer everyone's questions, there's more of these videos coming out. I'll probably get more comments of people asking for the yarn. It's not a big, like, I also want to make it clear, I'm not mad necessarily that people have sent those. I just feel like I'm doing a really poor job of explaining that no, I'm not going to, number one, just send you my yarn for free. And number two, no, I'm not really looking to, like, give it away or send it out all over the country. I am a big fan of like doing things locally if you can, starting there and then moving further out. So I would like to just use it here if I can. Anyways, that was long and rambly and hopefully didn't make anybody upset. I'm sorry if it did. It wasn't meant to sound mean. I just feel like whenever you tell somebody no, it automatically kind of sounds mean, and I don't intend that. The next video is the Sunday Sunrise Week 25. I was asked, let's see, too cute dear, do you make project bags for anyone? I do make and sell them, Alita, and I have an online shop. There is a link always in the description of the videos of where you can procure my handmade products. And then Crazy H's Chaos said, right now it's Sunday sunset for me, LOL, 11 p.m. and time for my old self to be in bed. That's mighty early for me, though I recognize you probably wake up at a more standard hour than I do. But I did go to bed at 11 p.m. last night, and it was real weird, and I was still tired this morning. Okay. Then Linda said, we always say the rolled up wheat is the giant's shredded wheat. That's funny. We always laugh when, not so much here, though there are certain areas you'll drive through because I live in what's called the Flint Hills region of Kansas. And so there are some places where there's just like rocks sticking up out of the grass. And where we lived in Northern California and went to college, there was this huge area up in the hills where there were just these like boulders hanging out in these in these grass fields. And so we always laughed. It was like, oh, the rocks are ripe. Somebody better go and pick them because they look like they just grew right there out of the field. But I like that, the giant's shredded wheat. The giant must be incredibly regular. That's a lot of shredded wheat sitting in my field. And those giant bales hold way more hay than you realize, or straw or whatever, because there is a difference. I showed behind me in our field is wheat stubble, so that is especially good for things like ground cover and bedding. So like what we use in our yard and our garden as mulch is the straw stubble from the wheat fields. It also is good for bedding, like I said, because it's not the same nutritional content as you get out of some other things which they hay, like alfalfa or even the grass in the waterways has more nutritional content because it's not just the stalks. Hopefully in the wheat field they've taken all the stuff that's good nutrition and took it up to the co-op so that it can be sold. Then finally, the last video I posted this last week was a Makes Monday number 46 try, which was my podcast for the week. And I've had a few comments on that. The first one says, I think I was patron number 1. Woohoo! You were patron number 1, and I said woohoo too. My kids did a little dance. It was quite adorable, so thank you. The next comment says, I think I was number 2. I always enjoy your daily content on both channels. I made my own peachlet called Lala, but she has turned out to be a couch potato. Hopefully she will get with the program soon. My response, Laurel, is if you're going to be a potato, be a sweet one. So hopefully Lala's a sweet potato. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with hanging out on the couch. I like hanging out on the couch. So thank you, by the way, to both you and Lala. I was also very excited, and there was a little dancing when your Patreon subscription came in as well. Then we have a thumbs up. Thank you, with a little emoji. Now, do you explain the emojis when you look at them? I find it very interesting because since I'm usually around my kids or my happenstance, I read things out loud that have emojis a lot. So then I'm always trying to explain which emoji it is, which is just very silly. The other day, I was handwriting a note, and I wanted to put, it got to put where I was like, haha, and this is where I would do this emoji. Then I realized that I can smiley face and I can frowny face when I'm handwriting, but I cannot do any of the other emojis, so it's just very silly. I didn't know what to do. I just kept writing, basically, and ignored the desire to emoji, as I say. Undercover Yarn Snob said, I want to make Franco Randall's Galaxy of Change in purples. Of course, purple lover over there. And navies and blues, which would be beautiful. The Galaxy of Change is great, too. I had a difficult time when I was trying to decide, after I made the Tides of Change for my one nephew, trying to decide which Franco Randall pattern to do for my other nephew was really hard. What did make it easier is since both of my nephews graduated on the same day, I thought that it was kind of nice to do the tides and the sands as like tying them together. Plus my nephew is quite the surfer, so sands seems appropriate. Frankly, the tides would have seemed appropriate for him as well, but I bought all the yarn to make it, kind of thinking of him, until I realized his older brother's graduation afghan was all in blues and grays. So I want to do a different color for him, and red is more the color I think of with him, and I don't know what I'm going to do for their youngest brother. I got to think of another thing and another color, because all those boys kind of tend to lean toward blue, but yeah, got to figure that out, but I have a couple years. Then, Yarn Joy Podcast said, would love to see a craft room office tour when you're done, and there totally will be. It might be broken up into 2 different video sorts, but yes, there will be full tours of things. Things are still getting done in here. I still have to paint the doors and stuff. There's a few more odds and ends, but things kind of got all the stuff moved in here, and then we're at a bit of a standstill while we do our parlor, ceiling, and then putting the flooring through the rest of the house. So once the flooring is done in the downstairs, so hopefully, again, in August, probably, maybe before then. But I have family coming in August, so we hope the floor is in by August, right? But yeah, after I get everything all situated, I will definitely be sharing. And until then, you can enjoy all the sneak peeks you get in all the videos. Just always look behind me and see what's there. I'm very, very conscious of that when I watch other people's videos to see what's behind them. And what I always really wonder is when people are filming, I always wonder what's behind where they're filming. So when I'm done, at the very end of this video, I will flip you around so you can see what's behind you. How's that sound? Okay, so wait till the end and then I'll flip you, but I don't want to mess up my framing. Okay, then Maria said, I'm happy to be number 3. The only 2 project bags I've ever bought have been from your Etsy shop and they're lovely. That makes me so happy. Which I'll also do in the future as the need arises. I appreciate the time it must take to generate all this content for us. Well, thank you. I appreciate all of you watching it all. I've added, because when I add up how much stuff I put out into the world, it's also really amazing that people, absorb all that stuff. And the funniest thing to me is when people go back and watch all the old content. Because I'm always like, really? Because I'll randomly get comments on super old videos, which is really neat. But it never occurs to me people would do that, which is strange because I am like a completionist when it comes to the people I watch. I will start watching things kind of like in real time to decide if I do or do not like a thing. But as soon as I'm like, ooh, this vlogger or this channel, I go and I reverse order their videos and I start at the beginning and I watch everything in their catalog. And that is where my camera cut off and told me I'd talked too long. So thankfully I am also out of comments for this week. On the screen next to me is a link to subscribe if you'd like videos like this and everything else that I talked about today to pop up into your subscription feed as they are released. There's also a link to a random video that the algorithm has decided you would enjoy. If you'd like, you can just put a thumbs up to help me pop up higher in that same algorithm so other people can find me. And down in the description box below is a link to my Patreon if you're interested in supporting me monetarily. That would be fabulous. And now for the peek behind where I was filming. You had been sitting right here. It was not quite so sunny at that point. And there is a peek at my room. See you all next time. Bye!